Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here in Las Vegas once again, and I'm here at the Ensemble Horizon event. It's the second event they've held for this, and we're here with a lot of other travel advisors. It's the second year under a new regime for Ensemble, and I'm here with Michael Johnson, who is the president of Ensemble, and Christina Boyce, who's senior vice president, member services, I believe, right? And we're going to talk to them about where we stand now with Ensemble and also this conference. Everybody's very curious. I mean, last year they had a really good opening conference, and this is even bigger. And we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more on Insider Travel Report. Now, first of all, great to see you guys. I'm happy to be here in Las Vegas with you. Last year we were in Miami.
That's right.
And it was a great conference. I found it very encouraging that you guys had a lot of plans for Ensemble, and here we are a year later.
Yes.
So first of all, let's talk a little bit about this conference. Michael, first of all, let's talk about Ensemble in general. How many agencies are part of Ensemble now?
Well, we're over 350 agencies, but what we're really focused on is the size of the network in terms of volume. And the business at Ensemble and throughout travel overall continues to grow. We're exceeding 2019 from a sales perspective. What's also interesting about Ensemble, and I think it's a little bit unique, is the fact that we were focused over the last year on just rebuilding the company. We weren't really focused on member acquisition. And although that wasn't our focus, we have had a tremendous amount of interest and inquiries about joining Ensemble or learning more because there's a new energy. And there's a momentum. So as we pivot from rebuilding the company to growth, we are highly encouraged by member and industry feedback and think that our best days are in front of us.
Sounds great, and I'm glad to hear that. And I know that would have been one of my other questions is about your client, your retention of agencies and how you're looking to grow. Let's talk about specifically the Horizon Conference. How many people are here?
There's over 800 people here this week, so we've doubled the size we were in Miami, which is so exciting. And yeah, there's a ton of energy.
What's
here.
the breakdown for roughly suppliers versus?
Oh, we've got a ton of suppliers here, but what's really exciting is the amount of advisors we have here, right? So this is the first time in years that Ensemble's had advisors in person at conference. So we've got over 400 advisors in that room, which is a really big deal. We're very proud to host them.
No, and there was a great energy in there. Now, Michael, you spoke at the opening general session about trying to turn Ensemble into kind of a totally different type of organization, maybe compared to some of the other networks out there. How are you trying to transform Ensemble?
Well, we believe that Ensemble can transform into more of a business partner, really focusing on introducing tools that tangibly impact member yield. On the partner side, our focus on data upstream in terms of segmenting clients more strategically, and then reporting on them downstream in terms of their production and attaching that back to marketing campaigns is a differential. So we're excited about the programs we're introducing. What we talked about yesterday, the response has been overwhelming. In particular, the response to our new philanthropic focus, Spark, which is a new giving campaign and allows the agency and the advisor to leverage our platform to support over 2 million. That's right, 2 million different charities. We think that is a game changer. There's a huge focus on giving back in the industry, and we are thrilled to be able to introduce a tool to allow members to do that.
No, it really was outstanding, and that was the closing session yesterday where you had an amazing speaker, a photographer who had lost both his legs and an arm, and yet he's out there really working this kind of thing. And one of the charities that you are giving to is his, right?
That's correct. That's the legacy of war. Giles Dooley is a remarkable person. He is the embodiment of the power of one and the impact that one individual can have. And so it's so humbling to hear him. And then when we speak in front of over 800 people, the collective power and the collective impact we can have is, I think, immeasurable. So we're excited about it. Members have responded very positively. What I didn't anticipate was the partner feedback. Partners have asked, how do we engage? how can we be a part of this? So we're super excited about it.
No, it was, you closed the session with it, and a lot of people had a great reaction to it. Let's get back to technology and how you're impacting. You introduced with Ensemble, you have ADX, and Christine, I want to talk to you about the impact of ADX. First of all, how has the adoption been rate among your Ensemble members? I mean, originally it came from one of your the host agencies, Travel Edge, and now you're running it out to the entire membership, right?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So it's been now sort of a year in market for Ensemble. And listen, ADX is an incredible online booking platform for advisors to book air, hotel, activities, and a lot more coming in the next year and a couple years. What's exciting about it and why people have adopted is if you are uncertain about booking air, if you've never booked air before, if you're new to the industry, and we just heard that a third of the industry are new entrants, this is the tool for you. It serves it up. It's easy. There's no debit memos. All that risk and fear that comes with booking air, which as someone who has tried to do it, I totally understand, is solved with ADX. So it's a tool that instills confidence in the advisor, and then spits out a great experience for the consumer. So it's great. Adoption's been great, and ask the members using it.
And one of the big advantages that you brought to the table for these members, and so that is definitely one of the big products and services you have for.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's also the introduction or the enhancement of existing programs. So Christina talked yesterday about Further Your World, which is our new FAM program. We believe that advisors are at their best when engaging with their clients, supported by depth of experience and depth of knowledge. So the Further Your World FAM program, again, is another program that we are overwhelmed. I think we've had record-breaking from an Ensemble perspective response to 2024 already, and we just talked about it yesterday.
Well, it's interesting because it wasn't a Further Your World, but you had your top advisors on. You and I were together on the Explorer 1. Yes. Had a wonderful cruise. It was the very first cruise.
It was. It went well. It went very well. Yeah, it was fantastic.
But that wasn't Further Your World. You have other. Iceland was the one, right?
Yes.
We did Iceland with Silversea. We did Ecuador with G Adventures, and Egypt with Egypt and Beyond. But we've got 2 Explorer FAMs coming up in 24 with Further Your World. I think we have 20 departures.
Wow.
So it's super exciting and tons of applications, and it's a great way to build community, to get that in-depth knowledge, right, that technology can't replace. We then want to use technology to help advisors who go on those trips sell those trips more efficiently, right? That's what's really exciting.
Well, one of the other things you mentioned in your address was you are updating your advisor portal, right? It's going to come up in the first quarter or something?
Yeah. Q1, it'll be launched by the end of Q1 in 24. That is so exciting, right? It takes too long, not just in kind of Ensemble, but anywhere for an advisor to get all of the information they need to make a reservation, right? It takes too long. And so for us, we're all about shortening that time, fewer clicks to get what you need, personalization, smart, dynamic, intuitive tools that just give everyone an hour back in their day. Imagine what a travel professional can do with that. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. And of course, the other thing, you mentioned it, but I wanted to ask you about it too, is the other thing is training. Training is very big, and you were updating your, I guess it's called University of Ensemble, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. There is such a significant need for tailor-made programming from a training perspective. So what's interesting about Ensemble's U of E, our Universe of Ensemble, is the fact that we've got over 450 online modules, on-demand modules, so you can customize your learning path. So from an agency owner perspective, if you want to lean into a particular product, destination, etc., you can personally select and brand that learning path for your advisors.
And get reporting.
That's right.
Reporting.
Reporting, which is actually key. You mentioned the data. Right. You remember you were working with some data companies, and that's really one of the keys to this as well, right?
Yeah, Michael says it best, but we want the upstream data. We want to be able to segment. We're working with Environics to make sure, not that we can segment, that our members can best segment, right, and our partners can segment. So we're targeting the right consumers with the right messages so that sales close. And then downstream, we're partnered with Grasp Technology to make sure we're reporting on the outcome of all of that. So for us, data is critical. It needs to inform everything we do. And so capturing that data and then packaging it into a usable manner for our members to use, even down to the advisor level, is really important, and it'll change how people do business.
That's right. And one of the other things you mentioned was you're going to also provide, and I didn't know if this was still a need, but you're going to provide websites or ability to create your own websites for your advisors and for agencies, right?
Yeah, it's a huge need, right? If you think of the number of new entrants to the market, right, new ICs coming in, they need a website. They need somewhere that is a credible spot for prospects and clients to go and feel trust and reinforce their decision to purchase with them. It's really important. And what they really need is a website that's fully branded, that's beautiful, that has updated daily content that comes through. We provide that for them so they don't have to waste that time, right? So it's critically important for people coming into the market.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody's been building websites forever, but I didn't realize at this point there's still some that need a better website. Certainly, something that they can provide.
Absolutely, a better one or a brand new one. Again, if you're just starting in this industry, you need a presence, and it needs to be a strong presence. And we need to also provide, which it's going to have, strong reporting, so you can see what the SEO is. Again, we've got great AI-enabled content support on there for our members, which is really good. So again, it's all about time saving, productivity, and just helping our members get their brand out there and sell more.
Well, you said the magic word AI, artificial intelligence, which every conference I go to, we're talking about AI. I'm still not satisfied with the answer, but how are you using AI, and how are you kind of distinguishing what your members offer compared to what AI potentially could offer?
Christina?
Well, some ways we're using it right away. I think it's all about the application of it, right? Like, it's this big giant thing. How can you harness some of it for the greater good, right? So for us, a few ways we're using it, it's content support. So if you're launching a new website, a big blocker is, okay, and I have to fill this with content. How do I keep it current? It's hard to talk about yourself. How do I sell myself? So that AI-enabled support for content is going to be a huge help and time saver. So that we're using it there. Also through our portal to really build a dynamic, intuitive site, right? So we want it to know that, James, you click on these things, and this is the behavior and the information and the news you need for your business, as opposed to a flat, passive experience. So there's lots of ways we're using it kind of internally to help serve better things up to our members. It's powerful. It can be used, but you just have to harness it properly.
And then also really distinguishing the fact of what your advisors provide on a personal level.
Well, absolutely. I think AI has provoked a conversation that has been not really focused on in our industry, which is the value proposition of the agency and the advisor. So what AI is really doing is it's challenging us to really focus on the power of empathy and expertise. If your model is focused on price or convenience, at some point in time, you're vulnerable. That could be vulnerable to AI or other technology, etc. We're not interested in having that conversation. We're interested in having conversations around how do we provide expertise, be it through training, FAMs, technology, etc., and lean into the power of the human, which is their ability to empathize with their client. And that combination, we think, is a differential. What happens with AI? Your guess is as good as mine. Anybody that stands up on stage and says AI is going to do this, okay, let's go to the craps table, because you're a far better
close, so we can do
you're a far better predictor than I am. I don't know what it's going to mean. I don't think anybody does. But I do think it's a huge opportunity for our industry to come to terms with our value proposition, and that's the conversation that we're having this week.
So we're not talking Terminator times here. We're talking...
I hope not.
The complete opposite, I think, right? The complete opposite.
That's the general message I'm getting for all the talks I've heard about AI, is that this is going to be a help. It's going to be an added value to advisors. It's not going to replace, unless, of course, you're just an order taker, and that's going to be a different story.
That's right.
Now let's talk a little bit about how you said you've had some success in winning new members, people coming in, even though you haven't really started actively marketing like that. How are you going to get those? What is going to be your selling proposition to get people both back, maybe if they had left, and to get new people?
Yeah, well, I think it's multifaceted, right? And it's in response to individual member or agency needs. We think that our programming, from a marketing perspective, perspective, from an event perspective, from a training perspective, is elevated as it relates to the previous Ensemble. We're not so focused on what our competitors are doing. We're more focused on what we believe our agencies and advisors need and where the industry is going. So we're front-facing. We think our technology, our focus on ADX, to Christina's earlier point, the ability to sell air, the ability to bundle, worry-free, less time on administration and more time on client-focused activities and sales. We think that's a game changer, quite frankly. So our biggest opportunity is getting that message out to the market, and we're highly focused on that this year.
Well, I think the fact that you have kind of a turnkey solution with ADX and other your programs, and that an agency can walk in and adopt those programs and really start off right away, right?
Yeah, adopt those completely, and then also become part of a community. I think you feel it. I hope you feel it and see it here. Like, this is a family who hugs, and that's with all of our members. And I think it's just a really beautiful thing. Is if you're an agency and you want all of the turnkey stuff, the tech, the data, the marketing, the training, we've got it. And then also we've got a really warm community that will help you grow ultimately.
And then you just set me up for one other question about Ensemble Circles.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that and what those are. It's community travel communities, right?
Yeah, basically. So, circles for us are opportunities for travel professionals who are interested in a specific segment of the market to get together, to learn from one another, to grow, to learn from specific partners. They really should provide access for those folks who have put their hands up and said, either I'm selling a lot of this, adventure travel was our first one, I'm selling a lot of this, or I want to sell a lot of this. How can we we've just tried, circles are a mechanism to connect those folks and help them grow. So we're so excited about it. We've had 2 circle gatherings for adventure travel. We'll be launching a luxury circle coming up. And the next one, who knows? We want to respond to what our members want. We don't want to come out and say, these are the things that we're going to focus on. Right. We're listening. This week is listening. So hopefully shortly after this, we'll be launching the 3rd one, but it will all be in response to what our members need and want.
Well, that's great, and I'm looking forward to more from you guys. Now, anything else you want to tell? We go out to about 127,000 travel advisors now. It's pretty much the whole market. Anything else you want to tell them about Ensemble today and maybe Ensemble tomorrow?
Well, I think to Christina's point, our emphasis on community and connection is something that's so important. We were talking to a member yesterday who is moving into a brick and mortar expansion, and it was the first time that she was negotiating a lease. And she didn't know what to do. It's intimidating, right? Like, it's a big commitment. And the fact that we've established this community, this connection, it's in our DNA, she was able to reach out to another member who has brick and mortar to say, hey, do you mind helping me figure out what I should be doing, the questions to ask? Now, step back. These are actual competitors. When has a competitor reached out to another competitor for collegial advice? But that's the community that we've established at Ensemble. So despite all of the programming, and we are super proud of the programming that we've introduced, that camaraderie we think is really, really special. So we're very excited. And to come here and see it is just, I'm good for another 100,000 miles to see it in person.
Certainly, this is it's a bigger conference than last year's. Last year's, I was impressed by the programs you were introducing and saying you were going to introduce. We're going to have some other interviews with some of your other team about some of the marketing and some of the supplier programs, things like that. Anything else you want to tell all of our viewers about Ensemble and what you think you have, what the future holds?
Look, we're so excited. We've built a great team over the last 18 months in Ensemble, so that's really important to say. Our team is what is actually building all of these programs. Right. We're not building them. Our team is building them, and they're brilliant.
I thought you were in the back room.
We try, but they're doing it, and I want to shout out to them because they're incredible. And again, we're doing it in response to what our members and partners need. So if that appeals to you, call us. We're happy to welcome you to our community, and we're just so excited. We're so excited to be here.
Now, where can advisors and also agencies go to learn more about Ensemble and see if it might be a right fit?
They can visit our website, joinensemble.com, or they can reach out to any one of us. We're always happy to engage in a conversation.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you guys for your time. It's great to be back with you here at your second conference. Very impressed once again, and I think you're definitely going in the right direction. And I always tell people, you got out of the conversation for a while there for the last few years before the acquisition. Sadly, Ensemble, of course, has great history.
It does.
One of the original agency groups. groups.
55. We turned
I
55
know. I
less than a
remember when
month
everybody
ago.
says, what is Giants? Well,
That's right. Founded in
That was the original name. Right?
We're the 55-year-old new kid on the block.
There
We're
you
super
go.
excited.
Well, you've rejuvenated Ensemble and Giants, and so congratulations again. Thank you. It's great to see you.
Thanks. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, James.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.